Basics is Dana, Ms. Dangerous, and I'm your Monday vlogger. So this is like the third week in a row, no makeup. We got up and took a 5-mile hike this morning up the mountain, and I haven't done anything but cook and clean and do chores, so you get me icky. Sorry. That's what happens when I move to Monday. This week we are talking about meeting up with other WLSers. So the question is, talk about meeting up with other WLSers either through individual meetups, attending meet and greets, etc. Which do you prefer? And from your experience, what are the benefits or drawbacks? So I guess my first experience in meeting other WLSers was through my bariatric program at a hospital here in Gilbert, Arizona, where I had my surgery. And they do have monthly support groups. They have a nutrition group, they have a exercise group, and they have a, quote, psych group. And actually now, pretty recently, we have an old-timers group, people who are at least 18 months out. So I used to go to the nutrition and the psych, the counseling, just kind of group on a regular basis. Those were my very first experiences with meeting up with other WLSers. The problem with that was that usually there's a program and there wasn't a lot of mixing and mingling, especially the nutrition. A little more mixing and mingling or open talk in the psych group. So made a few friends there, but we really only connect through those or through Facebook. And I think one or two people maybe watches me on YouTube, but does not do YouTube videos themselves. In last year, so 2013, I went to the Vegas WLSFA meet and greet in, I think that was May of last year. It was my first big event. And I really wanted to go to, meet a lot of people that I had connected with through YouTube and Facebook, and learn a few things. And it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. I met a lot of people, had a terrific time. And then, let's see, I went to the Obesity Action Coalition conference. They don't really call it a meet and greet, though some people, I suppose, would. I think the Obesity Action Coalition and Obesity Help are more conferences, and they're a little more structured. OAC especially is a wonderful organization, and they have a lot of clinical people that go and get CEUs and things like that, but they also have a lot of patients. So that was last August in Phoenix, and I went to that because it was here. Then I went to Tampa, WLSFA meet and greet in April of this year. And I also went to the East Coast Atlantic City meet and greet that was benefiting WLSFA. And in between that, I have individually met, I think only a couple of people. So maybe 3. I've met my friend Pamela, of course, in New Jersey, and I met her in Vegas the first time, and then we hooked up there, kind of connected, traded, contact information, etc., and had done a lot of smaller kind of discussion on Facebook. And so I was on business back last fall, I think, and I looked her up and said, hey, I'm going to be there. And so we've actually met several times now, and I talked about her last week. She was my roommate in Tampa and in the East Coast. My hometown is Lubbock, Texas, and so I connected with somebody in Lubbock once when I was on my way, and we met up. Francis, hi Francis, if you're watching this. So I had a little bit of experience meeting other people's. Leslie. Yeah, so there's somebody else in Connecticut, and I think there may be one more. So the difference, both have pros or cons. The big events are a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of people. You get to be silly and share a lot of experiences. And I know at least the WLSFA events really do have a reputation for being kind of a big party. Nothing bad about that. It's just the way it is. Some people choose to drink and dance, and some people don't. But they're really more social. They have a little bit of learning built in, but they're more social. The pro about that is that you meet lots and lots of people. So folks that you maybe know from YouTube and Facebook, and now you get to finally meet them in person. So, and there is an energy by having a whole bunch of WLSF peoples in the same place. It's fun to go in a big group to, do something or to dinner or things. So there's tons of energy, really a lot of silliness, a lot of fun in those events. And that is the wonderful benefit about those events. The downside about those events is it is really hard to get any kind of one-on-one personal connections, or if you really wanted to just sit and pick someone's brain for an extended amount of time. Too many distractions. You are not... I think you can begin to, for me, okay, here's what happened with me. I kind of knew people, went to Vegas, and then from there, meeting face to face, then became deeper friends with folks. But if I hadn't known anybody when I went, probably would not have been as comfortable. And that time doesn't let you to have a real deep connection, just because there's lots of people and crazy, and there's time constraints and place constraints. And then I think the other thing is people are not always how you think they're going to be in real life. Sometimes it's because of shyness, sometimes because they're distracted, and there's a lot of different reasons. So they're fun. I love those events. I have a great time. I want to continue to go in the future. But if you're really talking about having time to understand someone, share struggles or victories or things like that, it's the individual meetings that are going to do that. So it's when you're reaching out and saying, hey, who's in the area that I can meet up in a coffee shop, and do it in onesies and twosies or whatever. I know that's a little scarier. I probably wouldn't do that unless I had some pretty regular contact with someone online, and then even then, public place and all that sort of stuff. But for me, those real deeper personal connections need to come in a very small group or one-on-one, and that's the benefit of doing your own thing. So I think some people, if you're a little intimidated about going to the big events, maybe you should start with a local event, or when you're on vacation or something, or someone's coming, invite them and have coffee, and then you could break into a bigger event if you're not uncomfortable with that. The bigger events, the first time I really went by myself, and I was hoping to meet up with a few people that I knew online, and it worked out, but could have easily not worked out. And there were times that I was alone during that, weekend. So it definitely requires you to go outside your comfort zone. And for me, I've had wonderful times when I've done that. So that's it. I'll be interested to hear what other people say about meeting other WLSers. And if you have some unique experiences about meeting folks, then share with us. Talk to you later.